What is going on? I am Cole, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by for the first time. If you are unfamiliar with this video, I am going to talk about some of my most anticipated comics for the week of December 28th, 2022. So if you want to see what those are, make sure you stick through this intro.
Most anticipated comic books. Most anticipated comic books from Cole.
Every week, I like to start off with this because this is how I find my information. So what I do is I go over to League of Comic Geeks and I just check the week that the comics are coming out to see what exactly is coming out. The reason that I like to bring this up is so that if there's something that I say is coming out, there's a chance that there have been delays. I know certain publishers have been pushing books back occasionally. There's been paper delays over the year, and just because of how long the printing process has taken, I know some of these more indie books have been pushed back a little. So in case you end up going to your comic shop and saying, hey, I was told by Cole from Cole's Comics Claim that I should grab this book and it's not out, that could be some of the reasons why. But I also like to say that because that is where I get my information. If you are using a different site to find this information, I would love to know it because, you know, previews for me, I don't like it because it doesn't have some of the DC books and some of the other books there. So it's a little bit harder, you know. League of Comic Geeks seems to be that one-stop shop that I really enjoy to use. So I know for me, there is a chance that by the time this is playing, I am in a blizzard maybe somewhere. So there is a chance that I might not be putting out as many videos as I normally do just because of that. And I just wanted to let people know, hopefully things should be fine. I doubt that it's going to be that bad, but you know, it is the holiday season, so I'll probably be offline a little bit too. And I hope everyone is having a happy holiday and enjoying, time with your loved ones if you have that opportunity. Another thing is that Bearded Comic Bro and I are currently running our cover challenge for the month of December. This month we are doing Heroes. I'll have that video up here. We would love it if you were to join us because it is one of the things that we really enjoy is seeing the community come together and share some of their favorite covers, to them. But if you are here, you are probably not here because you want to hear me promote some of the other stuff on my channel. You are here because you want me to talk about some of the books that I'm looking forward to. So there are a lot of number twos. This seemed to be a month or a week that a lot of number twos are hitting that I really enjoyed. So there's going to be a lot of number twos, but let's get to that first book. And the first book is The Nice House on the Lake, number 12. This is the final issue. This book has been solid. And I might say that of all of the things that I've read from James Tynion, this could be my favorite. We'll see how this final issue goes. Issue 11 didn't seem like this was at a point where this was going to wrap up. But who knows? We'll see how this story ends. And if it really hits the landing, I think this could be one of his best works. And I'm very excited to see what comes up. I think it's Alvaro Bueno has been doing an amazing job on the art, and I've just been loving everything. I know I mentioned back a while ago, I ended up rereading all the 10 issues before issue 11 came out, so I'm really pumped to see this final issue and how Nice of the Lake follows up. If you have been reading Nice House on the Lake, let me know if you have been enjoying it as much as I have. Next up, we have Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, number 2. This is a Boom Studio book coming from writer Jason Aaron, and I really enjoyed that first issue. It kind of is this post-apocalyptic world, which there have been a lot of, but I really like this kind of like odd couple-y thing that's going on. It takes a kid who was kind of left alone in this like very safe spot, and somebody who's been out there roaming the world comes in, they find each other, the boy falls in love with this girl and just follows her as she enters off so that he can go on his way. It kind of skips to the future in the last few panels, so I'm excited to see how we get to that point in the future, but I think this will be a fun ride nonetheless. And who knows, I've been kind of cold on a lot of Boom Studio books, but this one really brought me in and really made me excited to read a Boom Studio book again. So thank you, Jason Aaron, for bringing that to me. Book number 3 and another number 2 is Riddler Year 1, number 2. For those of you who do not know, this is written by Paul Dano, who played Riddler in The Batman. And I think this is his first time writing a comic book. And he did a very solid job at that. I really enjoyed that first issue. It kind of lets you know, what is leading up to this character that he played. So it shows, the Riddler in his early stages. He's kind of getting bullied to do things that aren't right, but he just does it, and he's kind of like gone and tried to make his own way and finds out that, doing things the right way don't always work in Gotham. And that's why I think this will be a very intriguing story. I love that first issue. I was kind of, mixed on whether or not I was going to get it because I've been trying to limit myself with how many Batman books I got. I figure with it being his first attempt at writing a comic book, it would be a good starting point to at least see how it is, and it would probably be at least worth grabbing that first issue. But I'm all in, and I think I'm going to read the rest of this. I don't think that this should be too long. It is a Black Label book, and most of those haven't been a ton of issues, but either way, I'm in for the ride on this one. And the final of the number twos that I'm going to bring to you is Peter Parker and Miles Morales, Spider-Man Double Trouble number 2. That is a mouthful. I bet you're wondering, that seems like a weird book for you to be pumped about. And the thing about this is that there is a reason why I'm pumped about this, and I'm guessing most of you will probably know the reason why. But the week that this book came out, Bad Idea was doing this thing. They released a book under a different name, and one of the things you could do to earn points for the Bad Idea Cup was to go to a bunch of different comic shops looking for this book and take a picture in the store with something that you purchase. So for me to do that, I said to my wife, hey, I'm going to bring Hazel along with me to these shops so that, you can have some time to just, be with you and our son. And, you don't have to be with both kids as I go do this silly quest to earn points for something that I don't even know is going to actually happen. But the moral of that story is we got to another shop. I saw this book on the shelf and I was like, Hazel, do you want to read this? And she said, sure, Dad. And after we read half of it that first night, she loved it. We had a lot of fun with it. And I think this will be a fun book to really introduce my daughter into comics. She loves Spider-Man, and after we've read this, I've had a short box in her room with some kid comic books from either Free Comic Book Day or just stuff that I've accumulated over the years, and she really enjoys reading some of these. She keeps asking for bedtime stories if we can read a comic, and I think that that is one way to hopefully get a new reader into this hobby. So if you know some young people that you think they might be into it, especially if they love the Spidey and his Amazing Friends, I think this is a great book to pick up as a good jumping off point. Now, I know I just mentioned that this is the last number 2 that I'm talking about. The reason why I did that is because I've got my buddy Dan Piercy coming up, and he's going to introduce a book that is also a number 2.
Hello, beautiful people. I am Dan Piercy of D. Piercy's Comics, and you know what I'm here for. It's my most anticipated comic pick for next week. Big shout out to Cole for having me on again. So, it is the week after the holiday, and to be honest, it's kind of slim pickings, but it's not without some books worth picking up, I think. I'm looking forward to this Harley Quinn, John Boy Myers cover, and also I'll probably pick up this Image compilation book with the Sean Phillips cover if I can find those, but I can't recommend those as like most anticipated. So most anticipated is this plush book by Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard. These guys did the plastic book as well as the vinyl book. Both those books were fine, but I was one and done on both of them. But this plush book, it's got a little something that both those didn't in my summation. There's absurdity and murder like those other two books had. But I don't know. A guy who stumbles into a furry party and there's a cannibalistic murder. It just got my attention. I love these covers. There's a cool C cover there, but I'll probably be picking up both, but I think I like that A cover the best. That's my most anticipated comic of the week, issue 2 of Plush. And, Happy holidays! I should be wearing a Santa hat or something, but there wasn't time for that. So, see ya!
And thank you for talking about that book, Dan. That is definitely a book I probably would have had on my list if you weren't bringing it to me. I know that we were kind of talking beforehand. And this was a kind of a weird week because at first I kind of thought that there wasn't a lot here. But the more that I dug into things, the more I kind of saw. And it gets kind of weird. Sometimes I try not to always talk about the same books every single week unless it's a book that I really think people need to hear about. But thank you for bringing that one up. I think it's a great book, and I've really enjoyed it myself. If you haven't already, check out Dan. I'll have his link up here. If you haven't known already, he actually did that song that I have on the intro of this video. So thank you again, Dan, for doing that song for me. Normally, I only talk about 5 books, and then I had some random other categories, but I'm going to add an extra book in this week just because, but I'll be fairly quick about it. So the first of the number ones is Burning Man #1. This is from Bad Idea. Obviously, I'm going to talk about every Bad Idea book every time they drop one because I am hoping to be Bad Idea's biggest fan. The writer on this is Peter Milligan. The artist is Juan Jose Rip. The colorist is Andrew Dahlhaus, and cover artist is Adam Polina. And there is no description on it. The cover, as you can see, is just a dude with his face burning, and it looks pretty graphic. Who knows what this book will be about, but I can tell you, I'm looking forward to reading it. And the final book on this list is going to be Book of Slaughter #1. This is coming from the writer of the first book I talked about, James Tynan. On art, we have Werther del Adaria. I don't know why I can just never pronounce that last name, so sorry about that. The main cover is done by one of my favorite artists and cover artists, Dan Mora, but we've got some more stuff built into the lure of Something is Killing the Children and the whole House of Slaughter. I didn't love the House of Slaughter books. Well, I love the first arc. The second arc, I've only read the first issue, and I'm kind of been waiting for those to collect, and then I was going to read them. I think some people like the second one. I didn't like the main character that it focused on as much in the second arc as I did the first arc, but I've been loving the main arc and supporting this kind of new universe of Something is Killing the Children. I think is a great thing to do for some of these indie, books, because it really helps them grow. And if we want more big story books from indie creators, supporting books like this seems like the way to get those to happen. So I know that a lot of people seem to really either kind of, a lot of people didn't like after like the first 2 arcs of Something is Killing the Children. I still think it's been solid. There might have been a lull for a second, but I think this most recent arc has been awesome. And yeah, maybe we don't need these side books too, but I've been enjoying them. And overall, I think, Something is Killing the Children is probably the biggest book from Boom right now. And is maybe one of the best books I think they've been putting out too. So I've been loving this. How do you feel about this? Are there too many books in this universe, or are there just the right amount? I'm just going to add one more thing here because I think there is a book that is coming out that maybe is a good place to start for certain people. So I wanted to highlight that. We've got Action Comics 1050, and this is pretty much taking over for the new domain of DCU after what happened in Dark Crisis. If you watched last week, I talked about catching up on all those books and finishing it. And as of recording this, I read all of Dark Crisis. I actually pretty much enjoyed it. I didn't buy into the tie-ins, which I think is kind of some of the things for me that gives me kind of event fatigue. But I really enjoy this, and I think this is a good place to start off with Superman. I know a lot of people love Superman, and I think Philip Kennedy Johnson has been doing a great job, but I noticed there's also other artists like Tom Taylor and Joshua Williamson on this, and I kind of looked forward to seeing what's happening. It looks like there's going to be a lot of creators on Action Comics, so I'm excited to at least give it a try. It does come at a $5.99 price tag, and I don't know if that's going to be the price moving forward, but if you think that this is, for all you super family readers out there, if you think this is going to be a good jumping on point, let me know, because I think it could be. I've never really pulled too much of Superman. I started a little bit when Bendis took over, but that only lasted a little bit. And actually, I just kind of looked ahead a little bit. It looks like it's going to be $4.99 after this first issue. So I think this one's just going to be a bigger one because it's starting a new event. But yeah, let me know if you think Superman is a book that you're considering getting. I'd love to know that down below. So as always, thank you everyone so much for coming by. And thank you, Dan, for not only making the song for my intro, but also for joining me on here. You are the only repeat guest that has came on this show. And for anyone else out here watching, if you like talking about comics and you have a book that you're excited about any week, hit me up on Instagram. My Instagram's down below if you haven't seen it already. And let me know. You can join this with me. I love having other people from the community join me and talk. You don't even need to have your own channel. If you just want to come on, shout about a book that you like. Maybe it's a cover. If it is even a trade that's coming out, let me know. I love having people on and talking to me about what I am passionate about and what they're passionate about. So thank you once again for stopping by. As always, I've been Cole, and peace.
Most anticipated comic books. Most anticipated comic books from Cole.